Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the museum and the park for this creative city, New Azona. Now as you can see here, I'm just working on expanding our road network with this sort of curved road, which has taken a while to be honest. And now I'm working on the Riverside Road, which has got a bike lane next to it. And we're going to add some trees to separate the bike lane from the sort of cars on the road. There we go, and now we just need to do this little intersection where it crosses with this other road. Of course, things are all made awkward when everything's on an angle. Okay, hello. So yes, today we're going to expand our road network as well to make way for the park and museum. So we're going to be doing a lot today, because right now this is just an empty space and we need to bring it all the way along here so that we can get building. Okay, this is what I've got so far for the park. As you can see, it's sort of 2 mini city blocks wide. Now it's quite small because it's only sort of the central park for this one small region of the city. But anyway, so we've got sort of a bike and pedestrian path going through the middle of the park, which I think is quite cool. And now we just need to work on sort of what to do with this middle bit here, because it's currently pretty plain. I'll have a think. But anyway, some trees are going to go in these planters here. Okay, so now I need to add some more roads to sort of surround the park, otherwise it won't make much sense. But hey, so here's our cool pedestrian crossings. And then we're going to move on to adding the trees. Okay, yeah, so here are some pine trees from my previous city, Azona. But yeah, I think they look pretty good in this park here, so we're going to add some more. I like a bit of asymmetry, so I'll keep it to just one side for now, and then I'll add some lovely lawn stripes. And on this side, I think I might add some trees, or I might not. But here, I'll add some palm trees. As you can see, I'm also adding some diagonal interest, because of course people don't want to just go around the sides, they often end up cutting through, so we'll add some paths there. Yeah, so here we are. I've got some diagonal paths. As you can see, there's one also there. I've tried to keep this nice vista, which will go to our library building, which will be a big municipal building. We've also got some benches and things. But yeah, so anyway, I think this has got enough detail for now, because we really need to get starting on working on the museum. Okay, so here's just a little experiment I've got for the start of the facade. I quite like it. So here's now 2. This will sort of outline where our sort of entrance is going to go. 2 stories tall now. I think you're starting to get the idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, so there's our sort of neoclassical entrance. Now let's work on the sides, for which I want to do something a bit different. So I'm now designing these arches using wall sections to make it look a bit beefier. And then we're going to have some windows on the floor above. And then that'll lead to sort of an outdoor terrace / balcony. Okay, I'm very happy with what we've got so far for the museum. I particularly like the window frames, to be honest. I think it's a nice detail. Now the important thing here, as you can see with city building, is to sort of have certain views, which is why I've got this massive open park which leads to the view of this museum here. And I think that's a very important part. Anyway, let's do the back, which I also want to make quite a feature because of course it's right by the river walk. Okay, now I'm doing the roof, which I first did a granite sort of brick roof. Yeah, I'm not really happy that much with this colour of roof. I'm happy with the shape, but I think I'll change it to a sort of stony colour. And round the back, I think this view's looking pretty cool. Very nice. Okay, so I'm just sort of replacing them one at a time. Here's what I've come up with for the middle. It's going to be a nice open sort of glass ceiling, which is going to go above the central like exhibit. Yes, now as I mentioned in previous episodes of this city series, I'd like every single building to have some sort of interior. And of course the museum should be no exception, as this is going to be a sort of main attraction. But I'm trying to sort of figure out what floor level this is going to go on. So I'm thinking it will sort of cover up these side bits here, and we're just going to have an extra high floor, which will be really useful for the exhibits. Okay, so now I've got sort of example of the light switches. Of course, every building I try to add some sort of light functionality, because then I can animate it in the future. Okay, so now we've got the central walls up. I've used white concrete powder, an interesting choice, but I thought it gave a sort of old but also very clean look. Now we're going to do the balconies for our guests to view the exhibit from the upper floor. Anyway, let's get into a time lapse. So here I'm doing the lighting for the upper floor, which is sort of hidden in that little space just above the ceiling. Okay, so now I'm just I'm copy pasting in the lights using World Edit, and then I'll add the wiring in later because currently they're just sort of redstone torches on top of target blocks. So we'll still need to do that so we can hook it all up to one light switch. I'm just doing some dividing rules now, which are going to separate our exhibits. Anyway, as you can see here, we don't have any wiring, so we really need to get doing the light switches. Right, of course I'm using wool to show that it's a redstone wire. This is a pretty quick job. Ooh, spooky. Now that's all done, we can get moving on to decorating the main central exhibit. Let's go. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be a marine museum, so we're going to have a big boat in the center. I'll let you enjoy the time lapse. Okay, now on this top floor, I'm going to add some information boards with some pictures, which would just give you some information about, I don't know, maritime history or marine life or stuff like that. Anyway, let's explore the ground floor together now I've done that. So we've got some more information boards on the side, I don't know, showing the history of this ship. And then we've got a little area with a sign saying we can explore the ship, how exciting, which currently doesn't have anything in. If we go over here, we've got a mock-up of a boiler room, which is pretty cool. Then we've got some rafts and things showing transportation in the past, I don't know. Then we've got some random pistons and some wine kegs, which I think are pretty cool. Anyway, now we've done that, we can move on to the subway station. Yeah, the subway station. This is where it's going to go. It's pretty central. It's got a view down to the library, which we're going to build. So I'm thinking it can just tuck in this little corner by the trees. Let's build it. Of course, we need some wide stairs for sort of two-way foot traffic and a central dividing barrier. I think this is looking pretty cool. I mean, very understated, of course, as a lot of subway stations are. We've got the railing to stop people falling down. And now we need a signpost to tell people what subway station this is. Okay, so this is going to be Park Street Station. I'm also going to put the sign on the fence here. And we'll do it in white on the other side to add some variety. Of course, glow ink sacking it, otherwise you just can't read it. I decided to remove the text from this side actually. But anyway, we need to get building that iconic sort of white brick pattern below. Of course, the perfect block for this is going to be quartz bricks. A block I don't often use, but it just fits in so well here. And of course, down these stairs, we're going to add some adverts. We're going to add some banners to sort of imply these sort of pictures. So yeah, these are just sort of random pre-made pictures I've made. They're really not good, but it sort of gets the idea across. Because I don't want to spend too much time on that if people aren't really going to see it much. Anyway, now you might be looking at this park thinking it's still a bit plain. And that's kind of what I thought. But then I came up with an idea. So let me show you. So here I'm thinking I'm going to add some swings. It'll be a nice, lovely place for some children to play. And I've got a cool design that I'd love to show you. So let's get right into it with some shaders cinematics. So we're going to do sets of 2 swings using chains, which are of course perfect for this. This design's pretty simple, just 2 chains and then a minecart in the middle. There we go. And then I've just put it on top of fences, so it's raised that half block up. That means, of course, we need to cover the fences though, which is why I'm adding this grey carpet, but I think it looks pretty cool. It's sort of like where it's padded, just in case the children fall off, because we need that health and safety. Righty, now I'm looking at all this empty space and I'm thinking I might want to expand the road network more for future videos. But I'm also looking at this museum and thinking it's pretty unfinished, so I think I should get doing that first. The detail I wanted to add were these little drinks fountains, which I think fit perfectly in between those columns there. It's so cute, and you've got a little bench. I also need to do this back area though with some similar details. So yeah, I decided some nice flower beds would sort of fit the neoclassical aesthetic a bit. and it looks pretty cool, pretty neat. I mean, nothing much of interest other than that. So yeah, we've got this intersection I've made. Of course, slight pain as it was on an angle, but I think I'm getting quite used to it, to be honest. So now we can get expanding the roads even more out to where we're going to build in the future, near the sea. So here's going to be another 4-lane road using trams, which is why I've copied across this intersection. I did forget to remove the bike lane, but can you just ignore that? Then I've added in some palm trees as well, and I'm adding in a tram stop. Let's take a look. So this is sort of the cash card payment area for where you need to pay for your ticket for the tram. I think that's a pretty neat design. I'm actually pretty happy with it. So here's a sort of more dry, sandy look for these sort of middle planters here. And I think it looks pretty good, especially with these new blocks from the recent update. Okay, so now the road needs to go up a bit to get over this river. The river isn't going to be really accessible by boats, it's sort of just a little stream. So I think this is high enough, and then it's going to go to a higher level on the other side. Continuing on the museum, I've added some twin palm trees here, which look pretty cute together, and some more water fountains on the other side. Back to the road, I've of course connected it all up to the other roads. We've got a 1-lane little road below me there, ready for our next video where we're going to build the next 2 city blocks nearer the beachfront. Yes, so these are going to be highly detailed. These are going to be our most dense city blocks yet, with some 3-story buildings and even some mid-rises. We've got a hotel coming up. We've got some Art Deco buildings, so stay tuned for that. That's one of my favourite building styles. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the museum, park and subway build. I've really enjoyed making them. I mean, there's still a lot to do on this Minecraft city. I mean, I've almost got infinite plans. Also, on the survival city, we've got a lot of progress coming up. We've got a suspension bridge, as well as a train station. So watch out for that video coming soon. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.